Hey everyone, welcome to John Talks Indian Cinema. I am your host, the Indian Cine-MANIAC himself, back with another 10ish minute review. Going back to the recommended list. My tagline, you recommend it, I'll watch it. So this week I watched from what I understand, is a Bollywood classic. And it's 1989's Main Pyar Kiya. I Am in Love. This was recommended by at Rudy54321. Oh, what a clever name. Rudy54321. Easy to remember. Now, Rudy, before I get to my review, I want to set an expectation here. I'm not a huge fan of the older style Indian films. There are some that I've really liked, but a lot of them I haven't. So I look at these films not through the eyes of your culture, who likes the music and the dialogue and the dancing. I look at it through my eyes of, when I watch one of these things, do I like it? Am I enjoying it? So I just want to I want to tell you that up front, okay? So a couple things. Obviously, the big deal about this film, and I don't think it's his first film. I believe it's his second film, but it's Salman Khan's second film that really put him on the map. Before I get to that, it was directed by Sooraj R. Barjatya, starring Salman Khan, who I've seen in Sultan, EK the Tiger, Dabaang. I've seen him in a lot of films. I really like him a lot. And to see him in this film, I don't know how old he was. He had to have been in his mid to late 20s, I would think, if not. He might have to be mid 20s. He looks like a kid, actually. And I did read about this. He looks a lot like a young Amir Khan. And I'm like, are they related somehow? Are they brothers? And they're not, but that was a misconception even back then. Also stars the lovely Bhagyashree, a lovely girl who in this film cries a lot. A lot. Alok Nath, who is in Gandhi, Rajiv Verma, and Rima Lagu. The story. The story is about a young girl who goes to stay with a good friend, a college friend of her father's, a very wealthy businessman, whose son Prem is coming home from America, and how two people can fall in love from two different worlds. I mean, that's the story. That's it. Now, the story, I give a 2. Why? Because you've seen this a million times in a million different movies. So the story's not earth-shattering. It's not anything new. Okay. So the style, okay, I got to talk. Let's see. I wrote a bunch of stuff down. I don't want to get to the music yet because there's a lot of music in this. And as I read the reviews of this film, the music is really the thing that set this apart and why people love it so much. In fact, I would say at least 40% of this movie is music, songs. And there's 13, I think. I think that's how many I counted. And you guys know how I feel about songs in these movies. Sometimes I like them, sometimes they annoy me. Now these all didn't annoy me, but some did annoy me. So this kid Prem, young guy from America. So he's been Americanized, right? He's got all kinds of posters on his wall with Michael Jackson and Rambo. He drives a sports car. He's got a leather jacket with patches all over it, including a swastika. Now, I know in India, it's not a swastika, it's something else. But I have to say, whenever I see that, it's a little jarring in these movies when you see that symbol because of what it represents to the US and Germany, right? Um, so she 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 comes to live with this family, very wealthy. By the way, their house, that set was absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful, huge. I mean, it was very colorful. In fact, the whole look of this movie had a like a 1960s Hollywood mod vibe. That's kind of the color scheme and everything. Um, but through the course of the movie, they fall in love, but the there's a rival businessman that wants his daughter to marry Prem because wealthy. So she pretends to love him and then causes a rift between the two fathers, the college friends, so that his Prem's father doesn't want him to marry Suman because she's of lower caste. Okay. Also, there's a scene in here where they're at a party and somebody starts shooting birds, like with a group of people just shooting birds with a looks like a 38 or 22 maybe it was. Now, why is that significant? Because the bird in this movie is a super bird. I mean, this bird is amazing. I'm pretty sure it's a dove. And this dove does amazing things. In fact, there's a scene towards the end where the bad guy is trying to kill Prem and Suman off a cliff. And I'm going to get to that scene in a minute. And the bird, they show a close up of the bird. And the bird remembers that this guy was shooting at the bird at the party. So the bird is going to exact revenge on that guy. So, so that's the movie. Now here's the ending of this movie. And and listen, if you love this movie, forgive me. I'm just telling you as I was watching it. It was a hard watch for me. I will say this, okay? I want to be fair here. The curiosity factor of Salman Khan so young in knowing this was his breakthrough performance, and you could kind of see a glimpse of what he was going to become. I found that interesting. Also, the look of the film, I really found interesting. Visually, the colors really popped, the costumes, and even some of the musical numbers. I liked the way they did them. I just felt there was too many. So, in that regard, I liked it, but it was a hard watch because it was long. It was long. And there were times where I kind of faded out of it. In fact, I didn't watch it in one sitting, which I almost never do. I usually watch it in one sitting. I didn't do it this time because I was just wandering too much. So I said, I got to get focused on this. But there's a scene at the end where everything kind of works out. But the bad guy's, excuse me, the bad guy's son, who's a bad guy, and this actor, I guess, was the first time he ever played a bad guy. He kidnaps Suman in a van and takes off. This is after everyone worked everything out. Now Prem's got to save her. So he hops on a BMX bike, a little bike, and goes after the van. Now there's a big chase scene. Now it's chicken. They're on either side of the road. They head for each other. He jumps up. Salman Khan jumps up on the bus or the van, manages to grab onto something and kick his feet in. While this happens, now they're driving. I don't know where they are, but they're driving down a road. She falls out of the Jeep and ends up on a cliff at the rock quarry that this guy worked at, Prem. Now she's hanging halfway down the cliff on a little tree branch. Okay. Now Prem's got to save her from the bad guy. That's when the bird gets involved. He ends up saving him, blah, blah, blah. That to me was like, okay, I can suspend my disbelief only so much. But and there was another scene where he's got to earn 2,000 rupees. And then Suman's father will let them marry because he left home. So he doesn't have any of that money. He wants to prove his love for Suman. which was nice. I mean, it was nice. It was a cute love story. I thought the love story was cute. So he's walking home. He's walking to the father's house with the 2,000 rupees. Now, this gang that the bad guy in this film, sick, they sent them to kill Prem. So there's this big fight scene. Now it starts raining, and they're like in the woods. Okay, they're in the woods, and there's this big fight scene, and the water's raining down. There's mud everywhere. All of a sudden, Prem gets kicked, and he falls into rapids that you didn't see anywhere. All of a sudden, there's just rapids everywhere, and he goes down the rapids and survives. But the 2,000 rupees are all wet, and they're not worth anything now. So, but it all works out. It all works out. So, I mean, it was super stylized. And okay, so that leads me into the performances. I guess the problem as I watch a film like this. Now I loved Sholay. Loved it. And there was a bunch of reasons why I loved it. I like Payasa. I mean, there's a lot of old films I like. The problem I had with this film and films similar to it, the acting is very soap opera. Like someone says something, and it's like this. Here's the camera. Someone says something, and they go, and then it zooms in on them. And then someone else goes, and the music, da-na-na, like that. So everything's over the top. I mean, there are side characters. In fact, I wrote down their names. Was it Sharma? No, not Sharma. Yeah, it was Sharma, and they rhymed. Their names rhymed. Sharma and where the heck did I put it? Two guys that wore Italian. Ramu and Shamu. They were the kitchen help, and they wore what looked like Italian restaurant tablecloths for shirts, red checkered. Um, but it was the acting was very over the top, and again, my problem is 90%, not 90, 80% of the films that I've been watching are a little are much more grounded than something like this. So I have to take that in consideration as I'm watching it because that was the style of the film. It's not a style I'm a big fan of. Even her, she's a beautiful girl, and I guess she wasn't treated very well in this film, is what I read. But she was always crying. She always had tears down her eyes the whole movie. Um, but adorable, adorable, and he was, you could see. I mean, he's got a lot of charisma. He was good in the dance numbers, but the overall acting of the entire thing is just too stylized for me. It's just so unreal. So the performances, I'm going to give it two because it's not my cup of tea. It's just not. I'm sorry. I wish I liked this more. Now, as far as the music goes, and man, was there a lot of music. Um, in fact, the movie opens up with a dance number. And it's everyone falls. It starts off with this thing that says everyone falls in love with someone somehow. Then it opens up with this dance number, a very again stylized set, two people. It looked almost like the beginning of a Bond film. When they do that, they always have a different song and visuals. Um, and then there's songs in here like there's an attempted rape, and there's a musical number as the bad guy's taking Suman upstairs and attempting a rape. That was kind of. Then the bird. I'm telling you, this bird is like amazing. It takes a love note, and the song is called "Go On," and it's the bird carrying a note from Suman to Prem. Then there's another music number where they're in this giant field of. Actually, that one I think. Yeah, yeah. So this one, by the way, these musical numbers went on for like 10 minutes. So this one song with the bird and the love note, he gets the letter, and there's two pitchers of soda on the table. And after he reads the letter, each one explodes. Now, Freud would say that means something. I'll let you, the viewer, decide. Then they end up in a field of apples. And that was Visually, it didn't make any, the scene didn't make any sense to me, but visually, with the green grass and the red apples, it was pretty stunning. And then there was this thing where he's going to go on a date with her, I think the first date, and he brings a case of Coke with him, Coca-Cola. Come on, Coca-Cola. I thought that was funny. Fifth song, Go Ahead, I'll Follow You. What other songs did they have here? Oh, sixth song, a game when Prem was going to pick a wife. Uh, oh yeah, this isn't a song, but this was something he did during a song. He does this gymnastic move all of a sudden, just out of the blue, which I thought was funny. Oh, then the eighth song is for her birthday, right? And he shows her a picture of this sexy short dress, kind of shimmery, beautiful, and he gives her a package. So I'm like, okay, finally, we're gonna see this beautiful girl in something sexy. Instead, she comes out in like a frilly wedding gown. I didn't understand that. Um, oh, and there was one song. It was the 10th song. It was in this cavern with this guy that he was working for. Again, I thought visually I liked the music in that and I liked the look of the number. So that was one song that kind of stuck out for me. There was one guy, oh, I'm bouncing away. I should, the 12th song after he earns the 2000 rupees, and the last song is at their wedding. So the music, I guess for sheer quantity. And I have to say, I only remembered like two songs when it was over. Now, again, reading the reviews, everyone talks about what the songs meant and how big they were, and I accept that. But again, for me, the viewer seeing it for the first time, there was like two songs that really I remembered. The rest of them I didn't. But because of the production values and the dance numbers, and again, the only other complaint I have about the music is, and I understand they only started recording um I don't know how to say this more effectively was in the 2000s. So when you hear music pre that, the way they record it, it's very tinny to me. When I listen to it, it sounds very tinny. And this did sound a little tinny to me. That's just the way they recorded music. That's not anybody's fault. That's what they had, but it definitely affected me. But I'm going to give the music a three because there was so much of it. And again, the production numbers were good. Overall, my verdict on this, I hate to be harsh, and I don't mean to be harsh. I just, one of the things, and people, it's funny because I did a review on a film, and someone really gave me a hard time that I don't understand the language and the culture. So why am I even reviewing Hindi films? And you know what? I respect everybody's opinion, and you're probably right. But when I watch these films, I have to watch them. I'm John from the USA watching these films. And I've seen enough of these films that I can distinguish between the genres, the years. I think I have a pretty good feel. And I have to admit that I like the more contemporary films. It doesn't mean there aren't some classics out there that I like. I really do. But this for me is one of these. It just doesn't work for me. And it's hard for me to look at it any other way. So I'm going to give the movie a two. Um, it's again, it was fun to see Salman Khan so young, like that. The movie I just watched with Amir Khan. It's kind of the same thing as that. I wasn't crazy about that movie either. It's just that style for me just reminds me of the 60s and the 70s. And this was 1989. And Rudy, I hope that doesn't dissuade you from recommending more films because my whole thing is whether I like it or not, I love the fact that you guys recommend these. It doesn't guarantee I'm going to like them. And I know if you love a movie that you want me to watch, and I might not love it like you do, I know sometimes you're like, well, you want people to like your movie like the way you like it. I totally get that. But when you're dealing with something like the culture differences between you and I, it's hard for me with some of these movies. And this was one that was like that. So I hope you stick with me. I hope you don't think I'm being too harsh, but one of the things you have to be when you do something like this is you got to be honest. I pander a lot, but I can't pander too much. Anyway, that's what I thought. So I do appreciate you recommending it. It was, like I said, it was a curiosity for me to see an early Salman Khan, who I've become a big fan of. So I really do appreciate that. Listen, the subscriptions are going up, and I think I'm going to be hitting 100 soon. You guys have shown great support. So, I'm going to ask again, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, and more importantly, share. Because if we can build this audience up, it will really, YouTube will really push this out. I've had a couple that had over 300 views, which for this channel is a lot. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate your loyalty, and I appreciate the recommendations. It's been great. What a great ride. Okay. So that's it. So we'll talk to you soon at John Talks Indian Cinema with another 10ish minute review. That's all.
चल 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 नए ख्वाब बुन ले